A choice of listening now on Radio Scotland on 92 to 95 FM. It's Tam and Stuart with Off the Ball. Over on Radio Scotland Extra, Sports Scene have full commentary of the early kick-off of Aberdeen versus Celtic.
Greetings! Let me see those hands again! Hang on now! Hey, everybody jump!
You're tuned to Off the Ball, the most petty and ill-informed sports programme on radio. Scottish football, the movers and shakers on the loose. One word, and our word this week is trainers. And a glimpse of flesh, succulent flesh. I'm Stuart Cosgrove, he's Tam Cowan, and you're tuned to the odd couple of Scottish football. My dear, it appears as if times are tight down Motherwell way. You can't even afford a Groningen dud for the Dutch.
Well, exactly. I'd like to commiserate with all the Kilmarnock fans who, due to, times are hard and they've had to go into the lower reaches of Dutch football and get this guy who hasn't kicked a ball since November and who previously was really, really struggling to score in that league. But, so, no, listen, you know what? You
mixed feelings about Van Veen coming.
No, not even mixed. I wish the guy all the best in the world. It was, he was absolutely brilliant in Motherwell. But you're already, you're allowed to put the slightly cynical hat on now that he's come back to Scotland, but not to your club. And me and my pals are already saying, well, that was a purple patch you had at Motherwell. He'll never reproduce that. Look, he's struggled to score in the second tier in Holland. Oh, injury prone as well. He's not kicked a ball since November. But you just know it's on the cards. The word is that he's going to start on, you couldn't make that up as well, the fixture list, right?
Aye.
Motherwell against Kilmarnock today. It's brilliant, right? It's absolute panto. You last week spent a lot of time in the Sunday show saying that you're getting fed up with Scottish football. Wow. Be honest, if it wasn't for the 6-pointer, Ross County against St Johnstone, you're going to watch the pictures coming in here today, I think you'd have happily taken a seat at Fir Park.
I'll confess that whilst I was fed up last week, I love Scottish football.
I know.
I've changed my tune.
Yeah, that's what it takes. But no, with Kevin.
But sometimes we have to adopt positions on this show to keep the whole thing bubbling along. Movers and shakers, are you happy with your transfer window?
Yeah, well, we've had, that everything else has been blown out. We brought in, 4 or 5 young players, and with the best will in the world, didn't know their names until they had signed. But this has been blown out in the water by the two. I'll never ever see a transfer window like this again as a Motherwell fan, because, in a very, very personal note, for my team Motherwell, albeit in loan, for me, for a club to bring in Sidney Devine's grandson.
Wow.
Right? Now, as you know, all joking aside, hey, no, everybody was into Sidney's music, and and everybody knows my style of music, what I like, what I don't like, right? But the bottom line was, I was a big fan of his. I was a friend of his. I did the eulogy at the poor guy's funeral 3 years ago, and Sidney was as proud as punch with his grandson Adam coming through the ranks at football. See if I thought now he's looking down, and okay, he's on loan for Rangers. The fact that he's now gone to the club, which is just a couple of miles down the road from Bellside in Cleland, where Sidney was born and brought up, he'd have a wee tear in his eye.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It is quite a remarkable story.
But the Kevin Van Veen, listen, can I nail this down? We're all quite intrigued about the reaction that, Kevin's going to get. The way I'm reading it, and if you recall, and I can play the clip if you want, we're not always petty and ill-informed on this programme. And last Sunday's show, I did tell you Lawrence Shankland is staying with Hearts until at least the end of the season. I says, forget all the nonsense you've read about where he's going. I was exactly right with that. My information, my idea of how it all panned out with Kevin Van Veen, Motherwell and Kilmarnock was basically, as far as I'm aware, Killie are forking out £6,000 a week. As far as I'm aware, they were able to do that because Billy Bowie, the head honcho at Kilmarnock, he was able to, maybe sugar daddy style, dip into the pot and provide that sort of money for Derek McInnes. We don't have a sugar daddy now. The John Boyle days are gone.
If you happen to be living in the parks at Crescent, you could maybe get yourself a pot of gold.
You're looking at, yes, there we go. You can't beat a visual rainbow gag on the radio. Yep, that's quite striking. Basically, head to the old SFA headquarters,
and there's a pot
Park
of gold.
Circus. There's an astonishing rainbow that seems to end there. Will the pot of gold be there? I'll send the Motherwell board over. But listen, Stuart, Motherwell were never going to. We took an administration 2002. Every penny has been a prisoner since then. We could not afford to dip into the kitty and find $6,000 a week for Kevin Van Veen. And I just wonder, can I be slightly naughty here?
You can.
As much as we both love Derek McInnes on this show, I wonder if Billy Bowie would have been able to find the money if he, like everybody else, wasn't looking at the odds on the new Aberdeen manager. I wonder if Derek could have gone into Billy Bowie last week and said, right, I fancy that Cristiano Ronaldo. I knew one of these, Derek. We'll get him. I just wonder if that was part of it.
Yeah, I'm
just going to throw it in.
Because I'm often a wee bit kind of naughty when it comes to this. I'm wondering if Tony Docherty's having a wee look at Aberdeen.
Tony Docherty, it was you, because you always think of Derek. Tony was very much, his right hand and all the rest of it. But I'd completely forgot that dynamic. And you're thinking, Tony's already been up there at Aberdeen. He's now branched out himself. Tony Docherty Esquire is a manager in his own right. The Dundee fans love him. He's, I think, had a brilliant first 6 months in his own right. Aye, he'll be one of the bookies' favourites as well.
I ask you
Can I
this
say, by the
question?
way, and let me chuck it out there to the listeners. Let me hear for the Killie fans and Kevin Van Veen. Let me hear for the St Mirren fans, of course. They were meant to be. It was neck and neck, apparently. It was St Mirren and Killie. Motherwell weren't, of course.
You know what? I've looked at their scoring record. It is not good. I don't think they've scored in, I think, 8 out of the 12 games.
Is that right? Is that right? Yep. Okay. Well,
because they were a team that you had. I had them down as a team that would qualify for Europe.
Yeah, let's hear.
And I think Killie's probably leapfrogged
the St Mirren
them
fans,
now.
the Killie fans. Let's hear as well for the Motherwell fans. And the thing, and we don't want any experts after the event. As I say, I'm pretty much sure that Kevin Van Veen will be starting on the bench today. If he does come on, a couple of things I want to know. If he does come on, I want to hear what the reaction is, the gut reaction for the Motherwell fans. I think he'll be warmly received. I really do, because he is an ultimate club legend.
I want to hear the reaction from the Groningen fans. One big yawn.
Aye.
They'll be going on.
A sigh of relief.
We got rid of him.
No, you've been so unkind. But I think he'll get a great reception. Another wee thing, if he scores a goal at Fir Park today, take you back to the old Dennis Law era, do you think he will celebrate?
No.
Right.
I think these guys are too cute now when it comes to... It's a wee bit like if Davy Witherspoon came to St Johnstone playing for Dundee United. They know that they're legends. They know that they've got to maintain their reputation, you know.
And again, by the way, the Adam Devine, can I just, to put it into some perspective, Stuart, you realise, I was thinking this morning, that is like, this move for me is like you, if St Johnstone had signed the grandson of Marvin Gaye.
That's
what that's like.
I'd throw him straight into the starting 11.
Now, briefly, we all know about...
Adama Sidibe, who he?
Oh, I don't know. Is this another transfer window one?
He came in, transfer
everyone's been
window.
blown out the water, but they two moves for me. I've no interest
Only
elsewhere.
2 or 3 days ago. Now, here's the debate. Gambian footballer, one of these guys, pace, scores goals.
Yeah.
But...
Omar Daly. Remember
here's
Omar
the one.
Daly's
I
pace?
do remember him. He was signed to us from Warrington Rylands. Now,
right.
it sounds like a department store,
It does,
doesn't
aye.
it? Yeah. Anyway... He was their top
At
scorer.
Warrington, as in down north
south,
of England.
yeah, and he scored in 2 consecutive seasons 22, 23 goals. They're talking about him being the new Jamie Vardy, right? A guy that can go from non-league to
Yeah,
a top
yeah.
league. And, you know, the debate's on whether he'll start today. I think he'll certainly come off the bench.
Yeah,
But
well-
a lot of excitement about
Well,
him.
you know what? I would get excited, and forgive me as I say, my week has been taken up by Adam Devine and Kevin Van Veen. But I thought one of the great moves, and it gave me a wee thrill. Please, a listener, furnish me with the gentleman's name. I'm looking at an Albion Rovers fan here. But there was a wee guy of Lowland League. Albion Rovers went to Burnley this week.
Yeah.
What a move that is.
Well, it's
absolutely
incredible.
brilliant.
And this guy, we don't know. I mean, he may end up just kind of disappearing, but he's given the fans a wee bit of kind of hope because he's a goal scorer. He's got pace. He knows where the goals are. And I'm thinking this might be somebody. We've taken him on a 3-year deal, so this could be somebody that we're putting into the big shop window.
Right, well, listen, movers and shakers, that is our first subject now that the transfer window is
Celtic
closed.
fans gurning, aren't they?
Well, I'm totally split here.
Yeah.
There's a bit about the entitlement and all that. I mean, how can you moan about it? You're sitting top of the league. You've won all this stuff in the past. It was only yesterday it seems like you had the quadruple treble. But as much as you've got that, the flip side, of course, is you keep boasting about the balance sheet. You've got £72 million or whatever it is in the bank, and you apparently won't spend any money on, quotes, marquee players, or even on a left back, or even on a good left back, or a good striker as they've been left with now.
Isn't it the case that if you looked at their squad, whilst it could be argued that they could strengthen, they've already got strength and depth. You know, is their squad big enough and good enough to win the league?
Well, I think, yes, of course, and it's split between Celtic and Rangers. Celtic, as even any Rangers fan will tell you, should have been miles away ever since 2012. Celtic shouldn't be looking in the rear view mirror at Rangers. They should have been gone, disappeared over the horizon. That's not the case. And
Do
it's
you
neck
get
and neck.
anything from the Cardiff move?
From Davy Turnbull?
Aye.
Just that I was dreaming and thinking, could that maybe be a wee loan one and would we be able to take him back? You know, Davy Turnbull, I think, is an exceptional talent. I don't think he quite got the chance, certainly more recently at Celtic. But it seemed to me that when he, correct me if I'm wrong, when he did come in, whether it was for Postecoglou or indeed Brendan Rodgers, he did the bizzle.
He never let them down.
For a midfielder, was it 6 goals in the last 14 games? I think he's a class act. And, you know, again, from Celtic's point of view, where seemingly every penny is a prisoner and they watch the shekels. You know, they lost money out of him.
Yeah.
We get £3 million plus for him. He's going down there for £2 million odd, do you know what I mean?
Bit, yeah.
So, again, that doesn't seem to be the Celtic way in recent
but
times.
you're looking at
but
a
you know what I'm going to say,
squad-
Stuart? Hang on, my final point in that is I'm all over the place with the Celtic story, as I say, because, you know, they've made all that money, but they don't appear to be spending. Why? You can understand the fans aggrieved. But look, you're right, they're winning everything, it seems. They didn't win the League Cup, of course, but they're still in course for a double to add to all the other trophies. But the big thing for me as well is, if they were looking for perhaps, as folk were imagining, when their European run came to an end, I think, you know what, I think Celtic are going to go out and maybe get 2-3, quotes, marquee signings, right?
Yeah.
But a Celtic marquee signing, I don't think is going to put a dent in their progress in the Champions League.
Well, exactly.
It might just bolster them that super bit extra
at
in
home,
Scotland.
yeah.
But you're talking signings that if a Bayern Munich or a Man City brought them in, that could be game changers at that level. So, between a rock and a hard place. But let's see. I'm going to say
you look at their squad, and now clearly it's the case that James Forrest, McCarthy, these players are surplus to requirements.
Yeah.
I mean, they could start in almost every other team in
No,
Scotland.
absolutely.
You
But
know.
you know what? And we will, of course, keep you posted. An opportune moment to tell you that. It's 18 minutes past 12. And, of course, a huge game for all sorts of reasons. Aberdeen against Celtic. But it's not that big a game. We'll keep you posted on anything that happens from the 12:30 kick-off right here and Off the Ball. So stay tuned for that. Have you got a wee fan? I mean, we were talking about it, I was snidely rather saying, Derek McInnes, that's why he was allowed to bring in Kevin Van Veen and keep his eye away from Aberdeen. Stranger things have happened in football. You're saying about
Except,
Tony
the thing
Docherty.
about it is, I think there's Aberdeen fans that would say, well, we've been there and it was okay, but it wasn't brilliant. And I wonder if they're now looking beyond Scotland.
Right, and there's mixed opinions again. Neil Lennon, of course, is one of the guys that's in there. I think Aberdeen, you know how we both love Aberdeen, and we're fond of mentioning that they're the only Scottish club that's won 2 European trophies. I was disgusted by the very idea of the 75-year-old guy, Neil Warnock.
Aye.
As if, he'll come up and he's quite a character.
Yeah.
And I thought,
No.
In my heart of hearts, Aberdeen, the images, Willie Miller raising aloft the European
Fergie,
trophy.
yeah.
They deserve better.
Yeah.
And here's a bit of character. He'll be good copy. You
Right,
know?
I need you to agree or disagree. Neil Lennon, is he the Stuart Baxter of Scottish football?
No.
No, he's tipped for every job now.
Yeah, well, he's tipped for every job because, you look at his track record. Obviously, again, some folk might mention entitlement. When it all went, the COVID year, as they now call it, at Celtic, and the barriers up, protests for the fans, beaten by Ross County, etc., etc. And Neil bore the brunt of that. But Neil Lennon, when you look previous to that, his record at Celtic was immense. And, last 16 of the Champions League, etc. And if when Stevie Hamill lost his job at Motherwell, if I'd have heard the Motherwell board had brought in Neil Lennon, I'd have been delighted.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's hear for the Aberdeen fans. You're the only guys that count here. And again, if you're maybe just getting out your car, you're getting into Pittodrie for the game, Take a few seconds just to ping us a wee text, 80295. On that text, and you can email offtheball@bbc.co.uk. Barry Robson is gone. The fans seemingly got their wish. Who is it you really want to come in next? Give us a shout.
Yeah, I think one of the other things is that people start to reflect back on the entire infrastructure of their club, the board, not just the manager, but the chairman. You see it there at Celtic with Peter Lawwell. You see it, well, you have recently seen it at Hibs until this week when, unbelievably, they were given permission, as it were, to take an investor who already has interests in English football, an American. I think it's just below 29% of the club that he can invest in. Well, but that's new money to him.
Well, again, I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know what the rules are, but the guy's in there now. It is legal, and he apparently is a billionaire. Now, to really put the cat amongst the pigeons, just before the end of the transfer window, can you imagine Hibs, via Bill Foley, had made Hearts an offer for Lawrence Shankland that they could not refuse. And Bill Foley was looking at the past history. You know that young generation that came through?
Yeah.
20 years ago now? 15, 20 years ago? And it was off. We'd kind of kept all the boys together. Riordan, O'Connor, Scott Brown. We could have challenged. I wonder if, Bill Foley's looking and says, you know what, that's my end game here.
Yeah.
I'm going to do. Celtic and Rangers are no great shakes, as has been proven over the past couple of weeks. They clearly don't have the money that they once had, or if they do have it, in Celtic's case, they're not willing to spend it. I think I'll have a wee go here.
Yeah, I wonder about this whole idea about players moving from one club to another as part of a kind of strategy of development. Now, at one level, of course, individually, we know it works because players can be hugely improved. But if you go back to the Hearts in the Lithuania era, I think there were 3 clubs that Hearts were connected to. And I'm no certain that experiment worked.
Well, again, I'll remind you had Vladimir Romanov at the heart of that, yeah? Let's give Bill Foley his due. We don't have any, I'm sure, due diligence has been done.
I'm sure,
And I'm looking forward to it. It could be quite a story. And if it did, if Hibs down the line with a billionaire as part of their club now, I know it's fantasy stuff, but the Hibs fans would have every right to be getting excited about it. It'd be great if that guy thought he could put a wee challenge in to Celtic Rangers.
Well,
brilliant.
one of our guests today, Tam McManus,
Yes.
a professor of due diligence, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He'll be joining us shortly, Tam McManus. He's been very vociferous this week, particularly about Celtic's inactivity in the transfer market. We're talking to all sorts of stuff about Tam, including trainers.
Yeah.
Because our second topic is a one-word topic, trainers. And this has basically come for the story that Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
one of the legendary sports figures of all time, a pair of his championship winning trainers from the 1990s have just sold at auction in America for $8 million. Now, he already rakes it in. There was that documentary that I think every man in their dug has seen about him and the Jordan
Last
Air
Dance,
night.
yeah.
And the money that he gets, hundreds of millions a year, and the endorsement, the sponsorship money and that, right? So his trainers are very well known. So we've gone with the one-word topic, trainers. And anything at all you fancy, were you, like me, never close to getting a pair of Adidas Samba trainers? They were top of the pile when I was growing up. Couldn't afford them. It was your pal in the street whose dad worked in the rigs, who would have been seen cutting about with the Adidas Samba. I would have gone down a good few notches. For a wee spell, British Home Stores in Motherwell did know a bad pair of trainers. It was 2 stripes instead of 3.
Yeah.
But from a distance, and with a wee bit of Tipex for an extra stripe, that you could have got away with them as a pair of Adidas.
You could probably help me. This is slightly kind of looking at a wee bit of Scottish football fantasy, but did Jim Traynor ever wear trainers? Yeah, when he used to be a leader with Section B at Airdrie running the decks.
Yeah, aye. There's one, aye. Jim Traynor in trainers. That's one for that app I keep going back to.
Aye,
And they can-
ChatGPT.
Aye,
Aye.
it can invent or generate a picture, aye.
Yeah.
I think another thing I'd say with trainers, because I think there's a whole glossary of trainers here, a whole thesaurus, if you like, because when we were speaking before about, quotes, posh neighbours, and the one that always tickled me, of course, Stuart, when you said that you realised one of the women in your street, you saw a jar of gherkins. It's right.
I
You knew
had
she was
no
posh.
idea what they were.
Exactly.
No idea.
Well, my version of that, as you say, and it was the night Archie Gemmill scored his goal against Holland of the Netherlands. Who was it? Who did he score against?
It was Netherlands.
Anyway, when he scored that, it was my, quotes, posh neighbour, well-spoken neighbour, who gave me on toast the Heinz beans with the wee sausages in.
Aye,
I
yeah.
thought that was a height of luxury. But it was also her. She was the first woman in the street I ever remember when you did get into their house. Could you take your shoes off? Right? Right? Remember that, right? There's always the first one in the street.
Another one was, could you go round the back door?
I thought maybe something else.
Yeah.
Right, but anyway, but you obviously knew your neighbours better than me.
Yeah.
But no, when this lady in question would have said about you take your shoes off, if it was your gutties you had on, as
Yeah.
I would have called them, or your trainers, right? Here's a wee posh back, come in. I don't know if you use this expression in Perth. She would say, if it was your trainers you were wearing, she saw it, would you mind taking off your sand shoes? Your sand shoes.
Sand shoes,
They were
yeah.
that was posh for
That
trainers.
very, very much
so. Listen,
so.
all things trainers.
Well, here's the
Do you
weird
still
thing.
wear them? Do you love a pair of trainers? Do you only wear them like me on holiday? Have you got an old favourite pair, or like wearing a pair of slippers? What was the pair that you really, really desired as a kid?
Would you buy a pair at auction? I mean, they're now very, very collectible.
again,
You know,
Well, I tell you, auctions is a word that sticks in the throat this week because sometimes it gets ridiculous, and I hope you can furnish me with the rest of the details here, but I was so disgusted I gave up reading it. A napkin signed by Lionel Messi,
Yeah.
and it was meant to count as his contract when he was a kid,
Yeah.
and it was something like $800,000 or
Yeah.
pounds or something,
Yeah.
and you think, oh, come on.
well, here's the thing, though, Tam, is why is it being bought? You have to kind of work back because
An investment.
Well, it could be that, but I think with in the case really of Air Jordan, of Michael Jordan, we're seeing in America the rise of African American galleries, museums, things like that, and often a centrepiece like that an absolute centrepiece. The $8 million shoe when he won the championship with the Chicago Bulls.
It might have been
That's a big attraction.
Aye, and it might have been part. I don't know nothing about that sport, but if he'd won it 10 years in the bounce, maybe those were the last trainers to complete a collection.
Yeah,
and it's a bit
or
like,
alternatively, they're going to be the centrepiece of a big exhibition about American sport.
it's a bit like, for the Only Fools and Horses fans that are out there, it's like the Harrison watch. Two of them or whatever it was that were produced. Del Boy and Rodney happened to have that last one, and that's why it went for so much money. But listen, one word trainers, and our first topic was movers and shakers. Give us your take on, Kevin Van Veen, Cindy Devine's grandson Adam signing for Motherwell, the transfer window in general, who's going to be the next Aberdeen manager, are the Hibs fans really getting excited about a billionaire joining the board, and anything else that was moving or shaking.
I know I can sometimes be an old cynic, but glad that monkey got caught.
Yeah, the monkey. You sometimes last Sunday.
Yeah.
And fair play to you. It was from the heart, and the debate continued on the socials, as they say.
Yeah.
When you were saying you were fed up with football. The game on the Saturday had scunnered you.
It was
you
rotten.
did not enjoy it.
Rotten. And I could see professional players, some of whom are extremely good, Matt Smith, Graham Carey, really, really good players that couldn't string two passes together. It was
I know.
astonishing.
But anyhow, a week is a long time in Scottish football.
Now we're on fire.
So,
Adama has joined us.
We're talking monkey business as well, and we're talking monkey business and on the loose. On the loose, the Honshu, the macaque. Do you see? Is it just the macaque, or is it the macaque monkey?
I would say the macaque monkey because I want people to understand what we're talking about.
So we've all seen the memes this week, and I've included them with the Aberdeen togs on, quoted as the new Aberdeen manager, which of course, didn't think it was a bad gag, led to it. Is that Claude Macakalele? Right, there we go. I think you've got a better pun, a better monkey-related pun. About you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Who else?
My favourite was the macaque monkey on the back of Nessie, as if Nessie was a horse, and Nessie was saying, "Hang about with me, they'll never find you."
It was great, but he has been I don't like the word captured.
Yeah,
that sounds terrible, and he's been put back in a cage or something, right? But he's returned to his home, Honshu, the macaque. So we're talking about on the loose. Now, this could be anything. This could be, for example, Rudolf Hess parachuting into, was it Eaglesham?
It was Eaglesham he landed, aye.
Right, there we go. And
Hess has landed.
There we go. And then being indirectly responsible, if you like, for the name of a top 80s pop group.
Spandau Ballet.
There you go. Because it was Spandau Prison that he ended up. Where was Spandau Prison?
It was in Eastern Germany, am I right?
Just outside Berlin, I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
So he was on the loose, if you like, for a bit. You've had a great on the loose from the movie world. Have you got a favourite here? Whether it was Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption, some of the chaps in Escape to Victory. Me and Stuart, and I'm glad we had a different one each, and there was so many to go with, at least, 5, 6. Your favourite on the loose scene at the end of The Great Escape. Now, yours was?
Mine was James Coburn. He's sitting at a kind of brasserie, open-air brasserie, and it's clear that the staff at the brasserie are part of the resistance. And they wait till the Nazis come round the corner in a car and tap James Coburn and say, "You hide under here, we'll
there's
shoot
nods
them."
and winks, and then you all get under, and then there go the machine gun. See, as mine was, because I'm such a soppy git at heart. Tears every time when we Donald Pleasance and James Gardner think they're away in the plane, and then it starts, it starts, the engine starts going, and they land. Donald Pleasance, of course, as well over this point, can't see.
Yeah.
James Gardner gets injured when the plane crashes. Donald Pleasance tries to make a run for it, more like a stagger, but it's horrific. He can't see them, but he runs in the wrong direction, and he's running towards
the Nazis,
all the Germans that are coming towards him. But anyway,
you know the one that nearly made me greet? I've always been, as a child, I was a huge fan, as you know, of Ilya Kuryakin, the late lamented David McCallum's character in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And when David McCallum gets shot in the outside the train, he alights
he
on the
runs
platform.
away.
He runs away. He's
Gordon Jackson blew it for him.
Aye. No, that's him getting on a bus.
Oh, was that the bus?
Aye, he was getting on a
Good
bus.
luck.
And the guy said,
And
good
he
luck.
goes,
He
"Thank
said,
you."
Oh, thanks, mate.
Aye, right. Oh, I thought that was an end.
No.
Right, okay.
No.
What a film.
Great film.
But anyhow, listen, On the Loose. And I wonder, we've got other animal examples of that. I'm going to, a listener remind, I bet your producer remembers, as I said to you this morning, when our producer was elsewhere, only, was it a year ago, 2 years ago, a similar story to the macaque, monkey, an emu. It was either an emu or an ostrich in Fife. I think it was an emu, because everybody was doing Rod Tull jokes, and that had escaped for like a petting zoo or something, and that was on the loose for a while. Andy Robbins, famous pet grizzly bear, big Hercules, got on the loose before it was captured.
I think that they were going to film him doing a commercial, and he took off.
And Tam McManus, how often, he'll tell us, how many times was he on the loose
With Grant
when he was
Brebner.
when he was out in Edinburgh
Aye.
of an evening? That would be great here. But there you go, there's 3 topics so far. On the loose, in the back of the bat monkey business, one word trainers and movers and shakers.
Do you think there was nearly almost a kind of funereal mood in the BBC Scotland newsroom when they caught the monkey?
Oh,
It was the end of all of those.
That was the end of every bulletin.
Aye.
And you know what? Dare I say it as well, Stuart, let's be brutally honest. If there's ever an era in which you need the funny story at the end of the
Yeah.
news, it's now.
Aye.
Right? It's now. Look at the world, right? But, you're right. They were loving that. It was the end of every bulletin, the wee update and all that, and it was a nice wee story. Listen, a glimpse of flesh. Here we go. Listeners, a wee bit of sauce in this now, a glimpse of flesh. Arguably, and I know we're just into February, but the social media clip of the year so far, it went viral and then some. The lady with her pal locked out of her house, trying to get in through the window, and all hell breaks loose. And the boobs are dangling down and everything. And her pal, rather than trying to help her,
It's just laughing.
It's just in knots of laughter.
Yeah.
It is a brilliant, brilliant clap. So we're wondering about, what are the other classic examples?
Well, let me test you on this. What is
for
the
it.
connection between Sharon Stone and an Arbroath Football Club calendar?
Now, I know this one. I don't know the first name of the gentleman. Right, Sharon Stone, Basic Instinct, and that's been parodied all out of bounds by now. Of course, the crossing of the leg, and, bang, there we go. Wow, what a moment that was in cinema history. But there was I'm glad I'm not having a stab at the first name for legal reasons, but I think the gentleman's name, it was a Fotheringham.
I think he was,
Of which
yeah.
there have been a few, and I believe now, was it Montrose? Or was it Arbroath?
I think it was Arbroath. I might be
I'm
wrong.
going to stick with an Angus club,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And basically, as a giggle, when they were getting the squad photo at the start of the season, with the old benches for the school PE hall and that, some sitting down, some standing, he, as a gag for the photographer, had kind of nudged the shorts to one side and got a rather explicit photo, which, of course, you had to find almost, right? Well, there was 28, 30
It
players
was a
in the photo.
spot the ball competition.
Aye, it was, aye. And, the downside of it, as much as it was a giggle, for a club of that size, this wasn't a Barcelona or Man City. The whole project, they had to start again. The calendars and all that, they all get ripped up when this was spotted. And so I dare say again, a wee bit of bother, certainly after the event.
Yeah.
But that was another great moment, a wee glimpse of flesh. And, of course, wee James Grady, can't no mention it whenever he's in the show. A strange period when Channel 5 started showing the Scottish League Cup ties, and it was at Parkhead, Celtic against Partick Thistle. Can't mind who it was, but wee James running into the box, get his shorts pulled to one side, and there you go, ginger nuts all the way, and a lovely moment. But listen, in and like that, some of you may recall the controversial moment. I had no idea the name of the band, but I was informed of them this morning. L7, for the L7 fans out there, they appeared on The Word.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the show, the female, I don't know, lead singer, the Chanteuse.
Yeah.
Oh no, she was the bassist.
Yeah.
In this beat combo. She basically, it was everything off. And you were back to Sharon Stone again, you know, that caused a
Absolutely.
bit, you know. But anyway,
And of course, the famous, the wonderful Janet Jackson, who had a wardrobe
yeah.
malfunction in, was it half time in the old Super Bowl?
that's right, that's
Yeah.
right. So what were the famous wee moments, the memorable moments when we all got a wee glimpse of flesh? Just like the lady this week, absolutely hilarious, who had locked herself out and tried to get in the window, and basically she was turned upside down and bits and pieces started falling out.
So, Tam, I know it's one of your great gifts in life, so spell prurient.
Prurient.
Excellent. Well done, that
Thank
man.
you.
Absolutely.
Don't start me. There's an ITV. I showed you this morning. You nearly collapsed. ITV, whoever was responsible there, zero regard. It was ITV, I hasten to add, not STV. But when they had put up a tweet about the macaque monkey, Highlands was Highland apostrophe S.
Oh dear.
Dearie.
Oh dear, oh dear,
Dearie.
oh dear.
Dearie
So
me.
Scottish football, the movers and shakers.
Stacks
on
of stuff.
the loose. I mean, so much to talk about there. One word, the word is trainers, and a glimpse of flesh. Our team of the week, Tam, is the Apple
Oh, sorry.
11.
There was a nice wee story that Malus domesticophobia.
Yeah.
Malus domesticophobia. I was reading that Michael McIntyre, the very clean cut Saturday night entertainer comedian, he's got that is a fear of apples. And he's not had it all his life, but it just shows you phobias can develop as you get older. He's basically got a fear of apples. We like a slightly different team of the week, the Apple 11. The Apple 11. And the team name we had, of course, it had to be Apple Tart of Midlothian.
Yeah.
We had Peel McCann in there.
Yeah.
And my favourite that you came up with just a wee bit ago was Scott Crab. An old crab apple.
Yeah,
So
and
you
your
get the idea.
manager is whom now?
The manager.
Yeah.
Who's manager?
Motherwell's.
Stuart Kettlewell.
Stewed kettle.
Or stewed kettlewell.
Yeah.
So think all things apples. You've got crumbles, you've got tarts, you've got Coxey's pippins, you've got seeds, you've got core, you've got everything. All things apples. Think wide, long and hard and get them into the show.
Congratulations, Tam. You managed to get cocks and tarts into 1 cent.
Thank you very much. I've done it
and
every
we're
week.
still on air. 0500 92 95 00. Let's hear it from the boys.